We all want to get a grip on what's really happening, right?
Yeah.
To see the bigger picture without drowning in a sea of data.
Absolutely.
So today, we're going to do just that. We're taking a really fascinating look at how looking back might actually give us a glimpse into what might happen next.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Yeah, so we're going to compare this well-known stock, it's an electric vehicle company, with the recent movements of a digital asset.
Mhm.
And we're looking for these intriguing little hints and patterns, based on how things have played out before.
Yeah, and what we found, what's really interesting, is this idea, almost an echo between these two very different assets, but over the long term, these sort of patterns, phases that the market seems to go through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's start with the electric vehicle company. The data shows this super fast climb in its stock price, starting way back in December 2012. It peaked around February 2014. That must have been pretty wild to be an investor back then.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, what goes up, right?
Right.
It came down. It pulled back. That's a natural cooling off period. But what's super interesting, I think, for our comparison is what happened next. The price settled into this sideways pattern, and it stayed there for years.
Yeah.
Like the market taking a breather, buyers and sellers just kind of like in this stalemate.
Right. And the data highlights this trading range. It was pretty well defined.
Yeah, it was.
The low point was around $11.29, and the high was close to $26. And this went on for a really long time, from February 2014 to October 2019. So we're talking about 2,097 days where the price didn't really make any significant moves up or down.
It's like the market was just trying to make up its mind, about what it thought about the company.
Yeah, just sitting there on the fence.
Golly, yeah.
So during this time, did it ever try to break out?
It did. So the stock, it kept testing this price level around $26, but it just couldn't break through it consistently. And that's what's called, resistance level. It's like a ceiling. Price struggles to get above it. But then on the other side, around $10, it kept finding support. It's like this floor where buyers would step in, whenever the price dipped. So this push and pull within that range, that's consolidation.
Consolidation, got it. So then what happened?
Well, then things started to get exciting. It finally broke out in November 2019. It's like the market suddenly agreed.
Everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. A breakout like that, it often signals a shift. You know how investors are viewing the asset? But of course, things are never completely smooth sailing. The analysis mentions this sharp decline in February and March of 2020, and that was something that happened, across a lot of markets.
Yeah.
Because of, global events and all that.
Oh, right. Some big stuff happening then.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's amazing is how it bounced back.
Oh, yeah, big time. Strong recovery, and then it just surged. And it ended up hitting a new all-time high in November 2021, around $414.50.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about a move.
Huge.
Yeah, and to really put it in perspective, the increase from that breakout point, November 2019, to that peak in November 2021, it was about 2,474%.
What?
That's the power of a breakout. When an asset breaks out of this long consolidation phase and you get this market enthusiasm building, things can get pretty crazy.
That's insane. Okay, so that's the stock, right? That's the history of the electric vehicle company's stock. Now, what about the digital asset? It sounds like there's some similarities.
Well, the analysis points to a similar pattern. So it hit this peak, the digital asset, around $3.80 back in January 2018.
Okay.
And just like the stock, it pulled back. The price went down, and then it entered this multi-year consolidation period. This is where things start to get really interesting.
Okay, yeah, tell me more.
Yeah.
So what was the price range for this digital asset during consolidation?
It was between 20 cents roughly and $1.90.
Okay.
Yeah. And it lasted from January 2018 to November 2024.
Wow.
So that's about 2,557 days.
So even longer than the electric vehicle stock.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
Huh. So another extended period where the price was kind of just contained.
Yeah, exactly.
So did this digital asset ever have a breakout moment?
It did, and this is where that parallel really comes in. So just like the stock, the digital asset had this breakout. And it was in November 2024. It jumped from around 50 cents to $1.90.
Wow.
Yeah. And that breakout, it looks a lot like what happened with the stock in late 2019.
Okay. So after the electric vehicle stock broke out, remember there was a dip.
Right.
Did something similar happen with the digital asset?
It did. So the digital asset, after its breakout, it pulled back too. It dropped about 32% in February and March of 2025.
Mm.
Yeah. And these kind of temporary dips, they happen after a big move up. You see them all the time. Investors take profits, the market adjusts, it's normal. And the analysis says that as of April 2025, the digital asset is recovering, showing some modest growth.
Okay, so it's on its way back up.
It seems like it, yeah.
So to kind of sum up what we've talked about so far,
Yeah.
the main takeaway is that there's this really intriguing similarity between these two assets. Both the electric vehicle stock and the digital asset, they went through this long period of consolidation. Then they both had this significant breakout.
Right.
And then a correction. It's almost like this market rhythm.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And it makes you wonder what could happen next, right? So if the digital asset were to follow the same path as the stock, what would that mean for its price? Remember that huge percentage increase?
Yeah, the 2,474%.
Exactly. Well, if the digital asset were to do that,
Oh.
the information suggests it could reach a price of around $50.
$50.
$50.
That's a big jump from where it is now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As of April 5th, 2025, it's trading around $2.13. And remember, it's already on the rise a little bit. But of course, this is all just one possible scenario.
Yeah, we can't predict the future, right?
No, absolutely not. These similarities are really interesting, but there's no guarantee the digital asset will follow the exact same path as the stock. There are so many factors that can influence what happens.
Right. And the analysis mentions that overall, sentiment around the digital asset is actually pretty positive.
Yeah, it is.
Some analysts think it could realistically reach somewhere between $10 and $20.
You know, which just goes to show that it's important to consider different viewpoints. It's not all about just one comparison.
Right. More than one way to look at it.
Exactly.
And it's really important for us to remind everyone that what we're talking about here, it's just for informational purposes. We're not giving financial advice. If you're thinking about investing, you absolutely have to do your own research. Consult with a financial professional, all that good stuff.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Recognizing patterns is useful, but it's not like a crystal ball.
Yeah, no guarantees.
Yeah.
So to wrap up, the big takeaway here is this parallel that the analysis highlighted between the electric vehicle company's stock and this digital asset. Both went through these long consolidation phases, and then they had those big breakouts. Really interesting to think about.
It is, and it raises some really thought-provoking questions about, how looking at the history of assets, can give us clues about where they might be headed.
Yeah, it's almost like looking for footprints.
Yeah, exactly.
So given all of this, what other factors do you think might influence the future of this digital asset? We've seen these consolidation and breakout patterns, but what else is there? It's a really dynamic landscape, and I'm curious to see how it all plays out.
Me too. It's definitely going to be interesting to watch.